Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 4th of September and welcome to the newspaper analysis. Good morning Amrit, Pallavi, good morning Jennifer, Blessed, good morning Rohit Raj. Now guys, starting up with the today's newspaper analysis. Friends, into the today's video, we will be taking up the articles, all the articles from the Hindu newspaper, as well as we will see the good and relevant articles which are there into the Indian Express explained section. Meanwhile, friends, whatever the PDF we will be using here into the video, the PDF is available onto our Telegram channel. The link for the Telegram has been given into the description. You can visit the channel and can download the PDF for your assistance. Now, guys, first of all, taking up the overview of the articles that we are going to take up today. First of all, if we see the explained section of the Indian Express, the first article is talking about the appointment of the Supreme Court judges. Fine, we will see that what has been provided with respect to the polity section of our examination. Fine. Then guys, the below article, it is talking about basically the decision that has been taken by the DMK government to create a memorial for a clash that had happened into the 1987 where some of the people were killed. However, guys, with respect to the UPSC, much of substance has not been there into this article. Then guys, the below article talks about a decision that has been taken by the iOS to change some of the policy with respect to the reader apps. However, again, with respect to the UPSC, the policy substance is not there. Then guys, further moving on. Now, this is the Hindu paper, the page number 1. On to the first page, guys, we can see that the Mullah Baradar, he might be heading the Taliban government into the Afghanistan. However, the details are still awaited and this particular declaration will be made finalized into the few days. So then only we will be seeing this particular article. Day by day development, you don't need to see for your UPSC. Then after that, guys, we can see that the issues are there with respect to the excess death into the Delhi, etc. No need to see into these particular type of articles. Fine. Then guys, here again the Supreme Court Collegium, it has cleared 68 names for the High Court judges. So again, the appointment process has been there into the news. We will be seeing that what is this particular High Court this appointment process with the Indian Express article. Then below article, guys, it is talking about the footprints of the 3 dinosaur species that have been found into the Rajasthan. So with respect to the geography, geological time scale, etc., we will be see that what has been provided into this particular article. Then the article, this one is talking about the edible oil prices which are increasing, and it has been said that because the global prices are increased, the prices are increasing. However, it will reduce in coming few days. Fine. So just that price trend has been provided. Then further moving on. So guys, the next page into the city section, it is talking about the city and the regional type of news. Much of important thing has not been there into this particular article. Then further moving on, the same kind of things have been carried. Okay, the rising number of cases, etc. has been there. You can skip it. Then the next page is about the advertisement. We reach then to the editorial page. So guys, this particular article, it is talking about the role that the USA had played into the Afghanistan and whether everything has ended for the USA into the Afghanistan or not. Then the below article is talking about the deaths due to the COVID into the Chennai. So an estimation of the death has been made, not at all important for our examination. Then guys, this particular article, it is talking about the GST revenue shortfall that has happened. So how much GST came from which sector, how much was the shortfall, which sectors performed better and did not perform better, such kind of things have been there. Not at all important because guys, the next month everything will be changed. So not important for our examination. Then again, this particular article ending the forever is assessing the USA's response into the Afghanistan. We will see this article. Then guys, further moving on, this particular page, it today as it is a Saturday, so it is a ground zero report and it is talking about a scam that has been done by the Sukesh Chandra Shekhar. Fine, how he impersonated many of the people and all such kind of things. Not at all important. Please completely ignore this article. Then further moving on, guys, so this particular article, it is talking about the basically the evolving issues, etc. Fine. Political news has been carried, not important anything in onto this particular page. Further moving on to the next page, guys, where here we can see that the Indian Prime Minister has virtually attended the Far Eastern Economic Forum. So what has happened into the Far Eastern Economic Forum, we will be seeing what have been the addresses. Then the below article is talking about the exercise that has been conducted into the Ladakh by the army. We will see it. Then it is talking about the IT rules which were challenged into the Madras High Court. We will again be seeing it. Then this below article, it is talking about the India-US agreement onto the air-launched UAV. We will be again be taking it what are there into this article. Then guys, moving on to the next page. So this particular article, it is talking that now the Supreme Court is facing some kind of glitches into the virtual hearing due to a software upgrade. nothing important into this article. Then this side article, it is talking about a new approval that has been given to the biological e-jab. We will see for the children it has been given, but is there. Then this below article, it is talking about the diversion of the water from the Brahmani river. So with respect to the PT, some of the important information is there. We will be seeing it. Then guys, the next page is the showcase page, not at all important. You can just ignore it. Then after that, onto the world page, guys, again the situation that is evolving into the Afghanistan has been mentioned. Fine. Then this particular article is talking about the stepping down of the Japan's Prime Minister Suga, and the Japan's Prime Minister Suga had said that he will not be participating into the next election because, guys, he was criticized a lot for his response to towards the pandemic, and therefore he said that he will not be participating into the next election. So guys, we will see that who will be the next leader of the Japan. However, apart from this, nothing important into this particular article. Then guys, further moving on onto the business page, we can see that the FSDC meet has happened. We will see that what is this FSDC, what role it plays, and all such kind of things. The other news are not very much important with respect to the UPSC examination. So that is all about the overview of the today's newspaper articles. And now guys, let's discuss these articles one by one. Now, first of all, starting up with the GS quote for today. So guys, we will be taking the GS quote from the Bhagat Singh, the great revolutionary leader and the freedom fighter. Bhagat Singh says that bombs and pistols do not make a revolution. The sword of revolution is sharpened on the whetting stone of ideas. Now, guys, many a times the Bhagat Singh has been, many people, they believe that the Bhagat Singh always propagated using the violence or basically dispensing the British rule by the use of force. But towards the end of the life, the Bhagat Singh realized that the violence cannot be a particular solution towards achieving the Indian independence or to achieve any higher goal. Rather, a kind of a higher goal or a revolution is attained by the sword of revolution, by the whetting stone of ideas, by the ideas. So ideas are important, which drives any particular kind of a revolution. Guys, we can utilize this particular idea into the GS paper number 4, ethics, integrity and aptitude, the values and the lessons that we learn from the great leaders, reformers and teachers. So that is all. And now let's take the first article. Now guys, here we have clubbed actually the two articles, one from the Indian Express newspaper and the other article that we have clubbed is from the Hindu newspaper, and both will be important for our GS paper number 2 as well as GS paper number 2 under the section of polity, as well as for the prelims examination. Both will be important. Now, first of all, we will see that what has happened here. So guys, now there is a kind of a historic step that has been taken. Number one, now the 9 judges had taken the oath into the Supreme Court, and this is the first time that so many judges have taken the oath, biggest number into the history. Second thing, what has happened, the Supreme Court has recommended in just one go the 68 names for the elevation at the judges at various high courts. So 68 names have been cleared at one go. So guys, large number of appointments into the higher judiciary and the recommendations are being made. And by this particular thing, today we will be seeing the entire issues with respect to the appointment of the judges and all these kind of things, because a probable question into the GS paper mains as well as the prelims can be asked. Fine. Now, first of all, when we talk about the appointment of the Supreme Court judges, there is the article number 124 as well as article number 217 into the Constitution, which has mentioned about the appointment of the judges to the higher judiciary for both the Supreme Court as well as High Court. Now, basically, these particular provisions provide that the president has the power to make the appointments after the consultation with such of the judges of the Supreme Court and of the High Court in the states as the president may deem necessary. So this is the entire provision with respect to the appointment provided into the Constitution. Now guys, from the very start, with respect to the appointment of the judges, there was a kind of a controversy, and the controversy was starting onto the word of the consultation, that what this consultation means. Fine. And because of this particular discrepancy, guys, what happened into the start, the power to appoint the judges was completely into the hand of the executive. Completely it was under the hand of the president. And because of this particular thing, guys, a kind of a tussle between the executive and the judiciary was going in to the 1970s and 1980s. And this particular tussle that was there, it reached to its peak into the 1973. What happened into the 1973, friends? Into the 1973, the Indira Gandhi appointed the A.N. Ray as the Chief Justice of India, and at that point of time, he was not the senior most judge of the Supreme Court. There were the three other judges who were more senior than the Justice A.N. Ray, but still he was appointed as the Chief Justice of India solely by the executive. This particular thing was not liked by the judiciary, and judiciary said that into the Constitution of India it has been said that a word consultation has been mentioned. Fine. When we talk about the Chief Justice of India, anyhow the seniority norm is to be followed, that you have not followed. Moreover, the consultation is there, you have not consulted with us. The executive said that we are basically not bound by your advice. So therefore, what happened, the series of judgments came into the India, and these series of judgments had finally defined the the appointment process of the Supreme Court judges. So we will be seeing all these particular judgment. So guys, the first judgment that came, it was into the 1981 into the SP Gupta versus Union of India case. Fine. Into the SP Gupta case, it was provided by the Supreme Court that the president does not require the concurrence of the CJI in appointment of the judges. So this particular judgment was more into the favor of executive. It was said that okay, you consult them, but the concurrence is not required. The president is not bound by the views of the judiciary. At the end of the day, whatever president believes, to that person the appointment can be given. So this particular thing happened. So it was a victory for the executive. Then guys, there basically a next judgment came, that was the Supreme Court Advocates on Record Association versus Union of India judgment in 1993. Now into this particular judgment, guys, a 9-judge constitution bench evolved a collegium system. It was said that the judgment that was given earlier into the SP Gupta case, it was not correctly right. Rather, a collegium system has to be devised. Into this collegium system, it was said that there will be the Chief Justice of India and there will be the 2 other senior judges. Fine. And the Chief Justice of India and these 2 other senior judges, they will recommend to the President of India that who has to be appointed as a judge into the Supreme Court as well as into the High Court. And basically the president had to compulsorily consult with them. The concurrence is needed from them. Only the president on its own whims and fancies cannot appoint the judge. This particular thing was ruled very clearly. So guys, it was more of a victory for the judiciary because the president was now made bound by the Chief Justice of India and the collegium. And it was said that the Chief Justice of India has also to refer the matter to the 2 senior most judges, and after that only this particular thing is to be provided. However, guys, again, a kind of a discrepancy came into the 1998. Fine. And what was this discrepancy? I will explain you. The discrepancy was this, that the Chief Justice of India is there, and the Chief Justice of India had to consult with the 2 judges of the Supreme Court, or the 2 senior judges the Chief Justice of India has to consult. Now, whether the Chief Justice of India is bound by the advice that has been given by these 2 senior judges, or just the CGI can take the decision at its own. Even if they are saying no to a particular person, can still the CGI can recommend that particular person's name or not. So what will be the advice that the CGI will take from these 2 judges? So because of this particular thing, what happened, a presidential reference was made to the Supreme Court. You guys might be knowing that the president has a power that he can make a presidential reference to the Supreme Court on seeking the clarification of the constitutional matter. So the presidential reference was made, and into this particular reference, what happened, it was provided that the term consultation, fine, basically when it has been mentioned between the CGI and the 2 judges, it means that the CGI has to take the opinion compulsorily from the judges of the collegium. Only CGI's sole opinion will not be valid. CGI has to compulsorily consult the judges, and the majority decision only will be applicable. So CGI is not the sole authority. Moreover, guys, here the scope of the collegium was also expanded. Earlier into the collegium there were the 2 senior judges. It was said that now there will be the 4 senior judges and 1 CGI, and CGI has to take the consultation of all, and the majority decision is to be taken. And by this particular way, the appointment process for the judges of the Supreme Court got finalized into the India. Now guys, these 3 cases are also called as the 3 judges cases. So the first judges case was the SP Gupta case. The second judges case was the Supreme Court Advocate on Record Association versus Union of India case. And actually the third judges case is a presidential reference that was made to the Supreme Court of India. So these are the 3 judges cases, and the collegium system got finalized. Now guys, there is also the 4th judges case also. that came in 2015. Now into the fourth collegium case, what happened? The primacy of the collegium was again upheld, and it was said that the collegium which has been designed earlier, it is the constitution's basic structure. So guys, if a question comes into the prelims examination that what are the basic structures of the constitution, so the collegium has also been declared in 2015 as the basic structure by the Supreme Court. Now why it was declared as the basic structure? Because before that, guys, what happened? The National Judicial Appointment Commission was created, and this National Judicial Appointment Commission was a body to take up the matters with respect to the appointment of the judges as well as the transfer of the judges for Supreme Court and High Court. And basically judiciary said that this NJAC is a kind of an unconstitutional thing. Why? Because this NJAC had undermined the collegium system that was existing. So it was provided that the collegium system will be the kind of a thing which is the basic structure, and again the collegium system was revived, NJAC was struck, which was designed in between. Now when we talk about the present situation, then the Supreme Court, it has the 34 judges. It is the strength of the Supreme Court, including the Chief Justice of India. From time to time, the strength of the Supreme Court has been increased. In 1950, when the Supreme Court was constituted, at that point of time, there were the 8 judges, including the CJI, 7 other judges, and 1 of the Chief Justice of India. Now the power to increase the strength of the Supreme Court judges, it is into the hand of a parliament. You need to keep it into your mind that it is into the hand of parliament and not the president alone. So such kind of increase has been done. Now the 34 judges, this particular increase was made in 2019. When we talk about, guys, the age for the Supreme Court as well as High Court judges, the age of retirement is 65 years for Supreme Court judges and 62 years for the High Court judges. Now here a comparison can also be made between the Indian judiciary as well as the US judiciary. Into the USA, the judge into the US Supreme Court, the judge holds a position for his entire life. So therefore the changes into the judiciary into the USA are not that much frequent, but in India they are very much frequent, because a 65 years of age is there, and when a person is appointed to a Supreme Court, he just has 4 or 5 years maximum to serve into the Supreme Court. So guys, therefore the reshuffling is very much frequent. And after the 2000, basically since 2019, much of the appointments were not made into the Supreme Court, and therefore the Supreme Court was having much larger vacancies, and therefore now the 9 judges have appointed into the Supreme Court at a one go. Fine. And this particular thing had filled large number of vacancies that were there, but still, guys, there is one vacancy into the Supreme Court. Still complete vacancies have not been filled. Now after that, guys, when we talk about the appointment of the judges for the higher judiciary, it has been provided that into higher judiciary there is not the gender parity equality is not there. It has always been said that there is a lack of representation in terms of caste and gender. And guys, it was only just in 1989 that Justice Fatima Bibi became the first judge to be appointed into the Supreme Court, and since then only 11 women judges have been appointed to the Supreme Court. Only 11 judges. So we can see that even the judiciary is having a kind of a masculine structure. Moreover, according to a 2018 study that was done by the Vidhi Center for Legal Policy, it has been said that the representation of women into the judiciary at the lower level is good. At the lower level judiciary, it is 27%. But when they go up, a kind of a glass ceiling syndrome comes in between. Now guys, the glass ceiling, basically it is a phenomena that the women find they can just go up till a kind of a specific level. They cannot go beyond this particular level. So this is a kind of a glass ceiling that comes in between, and the glass ceiling we can see into the judiciary, because up to the lower judiciary 27% judges are the women, but after that into the High Court as well as into the Supreme Court in particularly, very less women has been there. Now guys, into the 9 judges that have been appointed now, fine, BV Nagaratna has also been appointed as a judge, fine, and guys, she might be becoming the first female Chief Justice of India, fine. So that is a kind of a positive thing that has come, fine. Moreover, now the 4 judges are there into the Supreme Court who are the women. And guys, now as we are talking that 68 names have been recommended for the appointment of judges at the High Court, here also again a kind of a landmark for the gender parity has been shown by the Supreme Court. What has happened here? Here a judicial officer belonging to the scheduled tribe, that is the Marli Wangkung, she has also been recommended. And guys, if her basically nomination will be selected by the executive, then she will become the she will become the first ever High Court judge from the state of Mizoram. So up till now, there is no High Court judge from the state of Mizoram. She will become the first, and that too, she is from a scheduled tribe community. So guys, a kind of a more inclusiveness, a kind of a more representativeness will be coming into the higher judiciary. So this is all the articles, all the issues that have been there. So guys, and when we talk about the GS paper number 2, especially the issues related to the judiciary has been mentioned very clearly into your syllabus. So all these things becomes very important because a direct question can be asked by the UPSC. So that is all about this article, and now we'll move to the next article. Now, this particular article taken up from the Hindu newspaper, and guys, with respect to the GS paper number 1 as well as the prelims examination, this article might be important. It talks about the footprints of the 3 dinosaur species that have been found into the Thar desert into the Rajasthan in India. Now, first of all, guys, we will be taking some of the very basic kind of concepts into this particular article. Now, guys, when we talk about the first of all, we will see the geological time scale or the geographical time scale. So the geological time scale, first of all, there are the eons. Okay, then after the eons, there are the eras. Okay, like for example, we have a year. Within the year, we have the month. Within the month, we have the week. Within the week, we have the days. Then we have the hour, second. So into this particular way, the geological time has been, first of all, there are the eons. They are the biggest divisions. Then there are the eras. After the era, there are the periods. Is it clear, guys? This particular question has already been asked into the UPSC, where they have asked that which are the bigger ones. So the biggest ones are the eons. When we talk about the eons, guys, there is the basically the most ancient kind of eon that has been called as the Hadean eon. After the Hadean, there is the Archean. Then there is the Proterozoic eon was there. Fine. Then right now we are into the Phanerozoic eon. Is it clear, guys? Combinedly, the Proterozoic, Archean and the Hadean, they are also called as the Precambrian. Is it clear? Then guys, when we talk about the eons, the next comes the era. So basically into the Phanerozoic only we have divided the eras. So into the Phanerozoic, there is the Paleozoic era, there is the Mesozoic era, and then there is a Cenozoic era. Is it clear, guys? Into the Paleozoic, then we can see the periods are there. Mesozoic, there are the periods, and then there are the periods into the era of the Cenozoic also. Now when we talk about the dinosaurs, guys, the dinosaurs, they had belonged to the Jurassic period. Is it clear? So this was the Jurassic age into which the dinosaurs were there. So basically the fossils also that will be found in, that have been now found into the Rajasthan, these fossils also belong to the Jurassic age, Jurassic period. And you need to keep into the mind that the Jurassic, the time of the dinosaurs, it was into which particular era? It was into the Mesozoic era, and the Mesozoic era is the part of the Phanerozoic eon. Clear? I hope that it is making a sense here. Now we will understand that what has been provided into this particular article. Now guys, the footprints of the 3 species of dinosaur have been found into the Thar desert. Okay, and these basically dinosaurs, they belong to the Jurassic age. And guys, basically the time around which the footprints were made onto the Thar desert, guys, this was the time when basically just around the time when the Rajasthan was the part of a Tethys Sea. You might be knowing that there was a Tethys Sea. Okay, and into this Tethys Sea, at the below of the Tethys Sea, the Rajasthan was situated. So basically, just at the time when this particular Rajasthan came out of the Tethys Sea, at that point of time, this particular footprints were made. And when we talk about the Rajasthan, it was below the sea into which particular age? Into the Mesozoic age. Fine. So the bottom line, we need to understand that into the Mesozoic age, the Rajasthan region was under the water. It was at the Tethys Sea. Okay, and around that particular time when this particular land came up, at that point of time the footprints were made, and at that point of time the clay was very much soft, the clay was very much basically malleable, so the footprints were made. But after that, that clay has been turned into a stone, and into that particular stone the footprints have been captured, and now these footprints have been discovered. Is it clear? Now basically, the footprints that have been made into the sediment or the silt at the seashore later became permanent stone-like. Now, these 3 species of the dinosaurs are, they are the Eubronauts, CF, giganteus. Then the second one is the eubronates, glenrosonosis, and the third one is the grelator tenuis. You don't need to remember these all the names. Fine, just if little bit you can remember, that is more than enough. Now, the dinosaur species that have been found out into the Rajasthan, they are of a particular type, that is the theropod type. Now, the theropod type are the dinosaurs which have the hollow bone structures, and their foot, they have the 3-digit. Here you can see that basically they have a peculiar three-pronged type of feet. Okay, so these three-pronged type of feet are the peculiar feature of the theropod. Along with these three-pronged feet, they also have the hollow bones. Now these all the species, they belong to the early Jurassic period, and they were the carnivorous. Carnivorous means that they were the flesh eating species. Is it clear? Fine. So guys, now if anybody asked a question that when the Rajasthan, or when the Thar desert was, which is today a Thar desert, when it was under the sea, it was during the time of a Mesozoic era. What was the time when the dinosaurs were there? It was the Jurassic age, and around the Cretaceous age, which is above the Jurassic age, into the Cretaceous age, these dinosaurs got extincted. Why they got extincted? It was said that a kind of a very big body hit the earth, and because of that the destruction was caused. So there are many of the theories. This is one of the theory. Fine. Right now guys, we are into the quaternary period. Fine. So that is all about this particular article. Fine, I hope you have understood it, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now here we have clubbed the two articles, both taken from the Hindu newspaper, and both are talking, or they are assessing, the intervention of the USA that has been made into the Afghanistan. One article is criticizing that particular intervention, and it has been said that it will be the end of the US hegemony, and the second article says that it is not the end of the USA. Now guys, before taking up this particular article, let's take some of the context. If we see, the USA has always intervened into the other countries' matters, into the other countries' affairs, and had tried to manipulate them as per the USA's vendetta. For example guys, when we see towards the early part of the 20th century and the later part of the 19th century, the USA was intervening into the countries such as basically into the regions such as the Nicaragua, fine, Haiti, Mexico, Panama, etc. These were the areas where the USA was intervening. After that guys, we have seen that post World War II, around the 1970s, 1980s, USA became more interested into the Middle East, and here the countries such as the Iran, the countries such as the Iraq, fine, the countries such as the Syria, etc., they become more of a concern for the USA. Okay, and now we have seen that the USA is basically was involved into the Afghanistan, and it has withdrawn from the Afghanistan. Now it is being said that the withdrawal from the Afghanistan is being particularly more and more criticized. Particularly the US President Joe Biden, it has been said that he had created a kind of a mess into the Afghanistan. The world countries are criticizing the American leadership into this particular time. It has been said that basically the popularity of the Joe Biden has considerably reduced, and the 56% of the individuals who have been surveyed into the USA, they say they disapproved the foreign policy of the Joe Biden, and even the job approval rating of the Joe Biden had reduced to 44%. Even there are the suggestions that are being given that the Joe Biden should resign from the presidency if he has some kind, if he want to save some kind of a grace for himself. Then guys, further it has been said that basically the step that have been taken into the Afghanistan by the USA, it is further one step into another round of the classical historical cycle of Afghanistan. Now classical historical cycle of Afghanistan is very much particular. It is said that first of all there will be a foreign occupation of the Afghanistan, then there will be the regime change into the Afghanistan, then there will be the abandonment of Afghanistan, and then the Afghanistan will lapse into the lawlessness, orthodoxy, filtration, terror outfits, etc. This entire cycle had happened after the basically Soviet Union left into the 1989, and the same cycle will be repeated now into the 2021, and earlier also the same kind of cycle has repeated into the Afghanistan. So the USA had taken one step into the classical historical cycle of the Afghanistan. Then the next thing that has been provided here is that basically the Pax Americana has died into the Kabul. The American hegemony, American dominance into the foreign relations have died into the Kabul. The golden age of American foreign policy had died into the Kabul. This is the kind of assessment that is being made. Fine. Now, this is one type of a criticism that is there. But guys, there is another side of the story also. There are some of the commentators, foreign policy expert, which says that there was not entirely bad what USA had done into the Afghanistan. They say, number one, it was provided that basically it is not completely unfair and graceless for the Joe Biden. It was said that USA had actually accomplished its mission within a very short period of time. Fine, within few years since it landed into the Afghanistan, they killed the Osama bin Laden, they eradicated the Al Qaeda from the Afghanistan, and they controlled the terrorism that was sprouting out of the Afghanistan, and they wanted to exit within very few years. But what happened? The countries such as India, fine, and other regional countries, they were into the favor that the USA should stop into the Afghanistan for even more time, and because of that particular time, USA halted, basically USA continued their operation into the Afghanistan. So basically it was not a kind of a miscalculation, rather it was a concern for the neighboring countries such as India that USA continued. Moreover, it has been provided that actually the Pakistan played a double game with the USA. On one hand, the Pakistan showed to the USA that we are the faithful partners, but on to the other hand, the Pakistan was supporting the Taliban, and the funding one, the support, ideological support was being given. So because of this particular thing, the mess has been created into the Afghanistan. USA was not completely wrong for continuing more than 20 years. After that, it has been said that when the USA was there, our relative peace was there into the region. Fine, the democracy deepened into the Afghanistan, the rights were given to the girls and the minorities, and the Taliban was controlled, Al Qaeda was eliminated. So the peace was there. So we cannot say that the America's intervention into the Afghanistan was entirely bad. Then further, it has been said that basically, if we see the countries of the West Asia and the Middle East, even into them, the interventions have been made and the terrorism has not been completely eliminated. So even now, if the Taliban is coming into the Afghanistan, we cannot say that something new has happened. The nature of the terrorism is always like this, that it comes again and again. Then next thing that has been provided here is that the withdrawal of USA, fine, is just the follow-up onto the agreement that has been reached by the Taliban and announcing a deadline. So just USA fulfilled their promise like the faithful partner, and therefore moreover, the USA even anticipated that the vacuum that will be created after the going out of the USA, they will be taken up by the Afghanistan government. Even USA trained the Afghanistan army, even they gave them the weapons and all such kind of things, and they were expecting that they will take over into the vacuum, but they had failed. It was not completely the USA's failure. Fine. Moreover, it has been provided that guys, many of the people are comparing the Kabul fiasco with the Vietnam, Tehran, 9/11, basically 9/11 and all such kind of thing, and even with the COVID-19. But we need to understand that the matter into the Afghanistan were much more complex. Fine. And basically what has been done, that was due to the exigency of the time. So basically the USA, we cannot call that the end of the USA as a superpower has come. Here a quote has been provided that a superpower does not sink or rise on account of a single leader. If a single leader is good, it doesn't mean that it will rise. If a single leader is bad, it doesn't mean it will sink. Fine. It is been said that USA is still the most powerful economic and military power around which the whole constellation of the world rotates, and therefore we cannot say that the end of the USA's hegemony has come here. So that is all which has been provided into this particular article. Fine. So guys, you just need to have an opinion on this particular evolving matter. That is all. And now we'll be moving to the next article. Now, this particular article has been taken up from the Hindu newspaper, friends, and this article is talking about the IT rules 2021. Now, by the way, the IT rules 2021 were framed by the government, into which they tried to regularize the social media, the digital news, as well as the OTT platforms. Fine. We will see what these provisions are, and actually what has happened after the coming of these basically new IT rules of 2021. It was challenged into the Madras High Court. A petition was filed, and it was said that it is ultra vires to the Constitution of India. It is violating the spirit of the fundamental rights of the Indian Constitution. This thing was said. Fine. Now we will understand that what has happened into the Madras High Court, but before that, let's take these particular rules. So these IT rules 2021, it covered three areas. Area number one was the social media. Now, first of all, guys, the social media, they were divided in two parts. That is the significant social media intermediary. the significant social media intermediary and the normal social media intermediary. The significant ones are the ones who are having more than 50 lakh subscriber base. So the Facebook, fine, the Twitter, they will be coming into the significant social media intermediaries. It was provided that these social media platforms, they need to identify the first originator of the content which is considered as the anti-national. Suppose a message originated onto the Facebook. Fine, I saw that particular message, I copied that message onto my wall, and then I am sharing with others. Okay, I had just copied, I am not the first originator. I might have copied it from another person, that person might have copied it from another person. So first originator of the anti-national messages is needed to be found out. And this particular thing, guys, was even imposed onto the WhatsApp, that you also need to found the first originator of some of the problematic fake messages. And into that particular thing, guys, there was a controversy that also came into the WhatsApp. We have already covered. WhatsApp said that if we want to identify the first originator, we need to break the encryption of the messages. Right now, the conservation that happens onto the WhatsApp is encrypted. End-to-end encryption is there. We need to break that end-to-end encryption, and into that thing, the privacy of the users will get compromised. Fine. So that was the another controversy that is there. Then onto the social media, it was also said that they need to appoint the grievance officer to resolve the complaint if there is onto a particular platform, and in the 15 days the complaint are to be resolved. Suppose some of the objectionable content is there onto the social media and a person wants to remove it, so he can raise the complaint with the grievance redressal officer. Then next thing has been provided that monthly compliance have to be provided to the government, that how many complaints a social media platform received, how much they resolved, and into what manner they were resolved. So this was a kind of a regularization onto the social media. Fine. Then it was provided that the next round of controls came onto the digital news media. It was said that onto the digital news, first of all, they need to follow the Press Council of India rules, Cable TV Network Regulation Act norms. Fine. Then it was said that there will be a self-regulatory body to oversee the adherence of the codes and ethics. And third, it was said that the I&B ministry will be having an oversight onto the digital media. And this third provision, that is the oversight of the information and broadcasting ministry, was a thing which was not liked here. Fine. Moreover, it was also kind of many vague type of terms were also used, that only that kind of content is to be shown that is into the good taste, the content which will not hamper the India's integrity, sovereignty, etc. Very vague kind of terminologies were there. Then the next control was onto the OTT platform. It was provided that the OTT platforms will self-classify the content into the 5 age-based categories. There will be the U certificate, fine, universal category. Then there will be the UA 7 plus. Then there will be the UA 13 plus, UA 16 plus, and the adult certificate. So these 5 certificates are to be self-certifiedly given to the content that is there onto the OTT. Then the parental lock should also to be provided where for any content which is having a UA 13 plus rating. Fine. So if the parents want, they should control that content. And third, the age verification mechanism for the adult content needs to be there. Now it was said that basically all these particular rules were into a kind of a direction where the person's freedom of speech and expression will be curtailed. Particularly if we see, guys, onto the digital news, the press has been given a kind of a, basically it has been recognized that they have a fundamental right to freedom, but such kind of things will be curtailed when so much of regularization will be onto the digital media. When, guys, onto the OTT platform you are putting so much of control, you are curbing the creative freedom. So it was said that these rules were violative of the constitution and violative of the fundamental rights. The petition was made into the Madras High Court. Into this particular direction, guys, the center had given their justification and had said that these new rules which are there, they are under the reasonable restriction that has already been provided under the fundamental right. So under the reasonable restriction, we have introduced. Moreover, before introducing them, the consultation with the public has also been taken, so they should not be considered as the violative of the Indian constitution. So such a response has been given. However, guys, as the final decision of the judiciary will be coming, we will see that what will be the status of these particular new IT rules. As of now, the matter is sub judice. So that is all about this particular article. And now, fine friends, we'll be moving to the next article. Now, this particular article, it is talking about the ecological concern into the Brahmani river. Fine. What is this ecological concern? What is the problem? All these particular things we'll be seeing. However, guys, in itself, the Brahmani river is very much important, and it could be asked, a kind of a question onto this particular thing could be asked into the prelims examination. So what has happened? First of all, let's understand this particular thing. Guys, if I tell you about the Brahmani River is the one of a major seasonal river of the Odisha. And this particular river is formed by two of the rivers, that is the Sank River and the South Koel. These two rivers merge and the Brahmani River come into existence. Now the Brahmani River, it flows through the Odisha and it actually forms a delta into the Bay of Bengal along with the Baitarni River. Okay, this is the basic information. It forms a kind of a delta where this Brahmani river is forming a delta. At that point of time, at that place, there are the Bhitarkanika mangroves. Okay, now these Bhitarkanika mangroves are a very diverse kind of ecosystem. Fine, very different kind of mangrove varieties are there. More than 62 mangrove varieties are there. Moreover, guys, this Bhitarkanika mangrove, it is also a Ramsar wetland site. So therefore, they are the wetland of ecological importance. Now, what has happened? Large amount of water is being diverted, fresh water is being diverted from the Brahmani river. And as basically Brahmani river is forming the delta, Brahmani and the Baitarni river are forming the delta for the Bhitarkanika mangrove, it has been said that such kind of diversion will pose a kind of a threat to the mangroves of the Bhitarkanika. When we talk about the mangroves, guys, the mangroves, they grow into the brackish water. Fine. And this particular brackish water is needed for their sustenance. Now, if the fresh water coming from the Brahmani river will be reduced, then the salinity into the region will increase. And because of that particular salinity, many of the mangroves will not be able to survive. And mangroves are a crucial part of a ecosystem. Moreover, it has been said that the marines also provide many of the ecological services to the nearby communities. Guys, into the events of the tidal waves, etc. Also, the mangroves protect the nearby regions. It protects the land. Fine. So therefore, the mangroves are very much important. Now, what has happened? Guys, a large amount of water is being diverted from the Brahmani river. It is being diverted for the industrial purposes. Fine. It is being diverted for nearby coal plants. It is being diverted by the nearby steel plants. Moreover, as the fresh water is to be provided to the residents of the city, a large number of water is being taken from the Brahmani river, and all this particular thing has reduced the ecological flow of the Brahmani river. By this particular thing, it has been said that it will pose a kind of a threat to the mangroves into the Bhitarkanika, where more than 62 mangrove species have been found. Moreover, the Bhitarkanika mangroves, they are also the kind of habitat for the saltwater crocodiles. More than 1600 saltwater crocodiles, they crawl onto the mud flats of the Bhitarkanika mangrove forest. They will also get endangered. Moreover, they will not only get endangered, but it has been provided that when the fresh water will be reduced, the salinity will increase, and when the salinity will increase, these crocodiles will also try to go upstream, and onto the upstream there are the urban centers that are located, there are the habitations of the people that are located, and into that capacity, what will happen? There will be the man crocodile conflicts that will happen, because these crocodiles, they will leave the basically this particular region and will go upstreams when the soil salinity will increase. So therefore, the diversion of the fresh water that is happening from the Brahmani river, it needs to be stopped for the conservation of the mangroves as well as for the protection of the saltwater crocodiles. Fine. So that is about the issue, that how the Brahmani river will impact the Bhitarkanika mangrove. Moreover, guys, when we talk about the Bhitarkanika, apart from the Bhitarkanika mangrove, there is also a Bhitarkanika National Park. There is also the Bhitarkanika Wildlife Sanctuary, and both of them are very much important for their ecological significance. Moreover, guys, there is also near the, you need to understand, into the state of Odisha, around the Bhitarkanika Sanctuary, National Park and Wildlife Sanctuary and the mangroves, there is also the Gahir Matha. There is also the Gahir Matha Marine Sanctuary. Fine. Now, this Gahir Matha Marine Sanctuary is very much important, as every year thousands and thousands of olive ridley turtle, they come to the Gahir Matha Marine Sanctuary. There is also the Gahir Matha Beach, where these olive ridley turtles are coming and they lay their eggs here. So this is also into the Odisha around the Bhitarkanika National Park and Wildlife Sanctuary. So guys, these are the geographical facts associated with the Gahir Matha, Brahmani river and the Bhitarkanika mangrove. I hope you have understood them all. Fine, you don't need to go much more deeper than that, because guys, into the prelims, when the questions will be coming, they will be a kind of a broad based question along with the options. So you will be able to eliminate if all these information you are having into your mind. So that is all guys about it. And now we'll be moving to the next article. Now, this particular article, it is talking about the address that has been made by the Prime Minister of India at the Far East Economic Forum. Fine. Now, the 2021 summit of the Far East Economic Forum has been held into the Vladivostok. Fine. Now, when we talk about this Far East Economic Forum, it is being held since 2015 every year. Now, this is the 2021 edition that has been held. Now, the objective of this Far East Economic Forum is that, guys, the East European countries, now many of the East European countries, earlier they were part of the USSR. But when the USSR got collapsed into the 1991, these East European countries got independence. But the East European countries are very much less developed when compared with the West European countries. So therefore, this Far East Economic Forum, it has been started in 2015 by the Russia, and it basically tries to bring more and more of FDI, more and more of investment for the East European countries. And into this particular, now the 2021 session has been held. Guys, basically this particular economic forum, the Far East Economic Forum, it is held into the Vladivostok, that is a city into the Russia, onto the Pacific. So it is a port city of Russia onto the Pacific. Fine, this is the issue. Now, as the Prime Minister has addressed the Far East Economic Forum, he had made some of the comments. Number one, guys, he had said that the India and Russia friendship has stood the test of the time. He had been said that basically both the countries, they are collaborating and cooperating on many of the fronts. For example, they are cooperating onto the fronts such as the connectivity, space, research, shipbuilding. Moreover, recently the cooperation onto the COVID-19 pandemic has been there, particularly into the area of vaccine. Even the Russia is providing the Sputnik vaccine to the India. So there are the large areas of convergences that are there. Moreover, it has been said that a kind of a energy bridge will also be, energy and the trade bridge will also be envisaged from the Vladivostok to the Chennai. Okay. And then it has been provided actually that the occasional events and the irritants don't impact the friendship of the Russia and the India. Now, what are the occasional irritants are there? If you remember, we know this particular thing that India was at the chairmanship at the UNSC. Now, into this particular thing, under the chairmanship of India, the resolution was moved into the United Nations, which asked that there are basically the Taliban should not stop the evacuation of the citizens even after the August 31 sign. So such kind of resolution was moved, and into that particular resolution, the China and the Russia abstained from voting. Okay, and both the China and the Russia, they are the P5 members, they abstained from voting. So these were some kind of an irritants that come into the India and Russia. So basically the Prime Minister has made this particular thing also clear that our friendship has stood the test of the time. These kind of irritants don't make a kind of a considerable dent. Then, guys, the Prime Minister has also said that the Vladivostok is a kind of a Sangam. Now, Sangam is a kind of a region where the confluence of the different things happens. There could be the confluence of river, there could be the confluence of ideas and all such kind of things. So Vladivostok has been called as a Sangam because here the Eurasia is meeting the Pacific. Fine, as I told you that the Vladivostok is a city onto is a port city onto the Pacific. So here the Eurasia is meeting the Pacific. So therefore it has been described as Sangam by the Indian Prime Minister. Fine. So these are all the things that had happened onto the virtual address that have been made by the Indian Prime Minister onto the Far East Economic Forum. You don't need to go too much into the detail of this particular thing. You just need to understand that this particular forum was created by the Russia in order to increase the investment and FDI into the East European countries. So that is all, guys, about this particular article. And now we'll be moving to the next article. Now, this particular article, it is talking about the FSDC meet that has happened. Fine. And into this FSDC meet, basically all the participants that they have been asked that they need to be more vigilant onto the state of Indian economy. Now, first of all, guys, we will understand that what is this FSDC, the Financial Stability and Developmental Council, and then we will see that what has been discussed here. So first of all, the Financial Stability and the Developmental Council, it is a kind of a non-statutory body Fine, the non-statutory body simply means that it was not created by the law. It was not created by an act of parliament. Rather, it has been created by an executive order. So executive order by the Ministry of Finance was given in 2010 and the FSDC was created. Before that, the Raghuram Rajan Committee in 2008 recommended the creation of the FSDC. Why the recommendation was made? It was said that in India we have the different regulators for the different financial sectors. For example, for the insurance they are the IRDA, for the pension funds they are the PFRDA, for the stock market there is the SEBI. Fine, then there is the Reserve Bank of India. So there are so many of the regulators into the financial sector, and many a times their jurisdiction overlap with each other, and therefore sometimes there are some kind of a conflicts that emerge. So the FSDC will be an expert body which will try to bring more of a cooperation between the different regulators of the financial sector, and whenever there will be the issues, they can meet and they can resolve that particular issue. So for that particular purpose, the FSDC was suggested by the Raghuram Rajan Committee of 2008. Now guys, the FSDC has been created and it has been chaired by the finance minister. Fine, and it includes the head of all the financial sector regulator. There will be the Reserve Bank of India's representation, SEBI, PFRDA, IRDA. Then there will be the finance secretary. There will be the Secretary of Department of Economic Affairs, Secretary of Department of Financial Services, the Chief Economic Advisor. They will be there. Moreover, guys, in 2018, apart from all these members, the mandate of the FSDC has been increased. It will also include the Minister of State responsible for the Department of Economic Affairs. It will also include the Secretary of Department of Electronics and Information Technology and the Chairman of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. So all the players who are important into the economic landscape of India, they have been made the part of the FSDC, and regularly the FSDC meets in order to resolve or in order to identify the challenges that are being faced into the Indian economy. Now, what has happened, guys? The 24th meet of the FSDC has been held, and into this particular meet it has been provided that basically the FSDC, they need to look very carefully with respect to the economic indicators, and they need to constantly work that how the economic condition of the country could be improved. Fine, basically when we talk about the mandates of the FSDC, it has a mandate of the financial stability, financial sector development, inter-regulatory coordination, financial literacy for the people, financial inclusion, macro-prudential supervision of the economy. And therefore, guys, just a kind of a discussion has happened that as we are coming with the national monetization pipeline, you need to make sure that there is no problem with respect to the implementation of the national monetization pipeline. Moreover, now the macro indicators of the economy are also to be seen, so that how we can improve the economic condition. Guys, you just be knowing that few days back the Q1 data has been released by the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation with respect to the GDP growth of India. So the GDP growth for the Q1 has been 20%, but actually it is because of the favorable base that was there into the last year. Already we have covered this particular article. So how actually we can make the V-shaped recovery, such kind of things are needed to be looked by the different financial sector. All these things has been provided into this article. So that is all, guys, about it, and now we'll move to the next article. Now, this particular article talks about India-US project agreement that has been signed onto the air launch UAVs. Now, guys, this particular thing we can use as an example that how the convergence and the closeness is coming between the India-USA relation. So first of all, whenever we discuss about any particular country, we see the opportunities and we see the irritants. The opportunities are the ones such as these kind of deals, agreements, negotiations, fine, MOUs, and the irritants are some of the events that happened. For example, between the India and Russia, the irritant came when when the Russia abstained from voting on a resolution that was being passed under the chairmanship of India, that we have just now seen. So now under what has happened, basically the India and USA, they had signed a project agreement for an air launched unmanned aerial vehicle. That will be a kind of a drone unmanned aerial vehicle under the ambit of the defense technology and the trade initiative. Into this particular thing, what will happen? The collaboration will be happening between the Air Force Research Lab, Indian Air Force, DRDO, fine, and some assistance will be given by the USA, and jointly they will be working onto the design, development, demonstration, testing and evaluation of the ALUAV. So onto the unmanned aerial vehicle, the assistance, technology transfer, design, etc. will be given to the India. It will be helping in enhancing the military capabilities of India. So this is a kind of a positive development between the India and the USA relation. You don't need to go much deeper than this. You just can provide it in a one line that what are the areas of cooperation. So this particular agreement that has been signed is one area of convergence. So that is all just about it. And now we'll move to the next article. Now, this particular article, guys, taken up from the Hindu newspaper, and it is talking about a development that has happened onto the vaccine landscape in India. So Biological E Limited, it is a company, a pharmaceutical firm. It has been approved by the Drug Controller General of India that they can conduct their trial of its new vaccine, that is the Corbevax. Now the Corbevax is a vaccine that will be administered onto the children and the adolescent. Now as India is opening up the school, it has been said that before opening the school, you need to administer the vaccine to the children. So for that particular thing, this Corbevax vaccine has been developed by the Biological E Limited. Drug Controller General of India, which is under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, had given it the permission that they can start their trial onto the children. Fine. Earlier, guys, if you remember, few days back, we have also seen one more vaccine, that was the Zycov-D by the Zydus Cadila. Fine. That was actually given the emergency use authorization. By emergency use authorization, it means that this particular vaccine can be administered onto the children. Already their vaccine trials have been completed. And guys, when we talk about the Zycov-D, we have seen that this is the first DNA based vaccine into the world. Moreover, this is the vaccine which had done a very big kind of trial. Fine. I think more than 28,000 volunteers were there. So now when we see the vaccine for the children, we got three vaccines into the pipeline. First one will be this Corbevax by the Biological E Limited. Second one will be the Zycov-D. And guys, the Go vaccine will also be administered to the children. So the Covaxin, the Zycov, and the Corbevax, these are the three vaccines that we will be having for the children. Okay. Now, when we talk about the Corbevax, it is based on to the protein antigen technology. Guys, what is this protein antigen technology? Very simple. Fine. You know, this is the COVID-19 virus, and onto the COVID-19 virus, there are the spike structures. Okay. Now, these spike structures, they are made of a particular type of a protein, and actually these spikes are very much responsible. Why? Because guys, the COVID-19, these spikes, they attach with the ACE2 receptor into the human body. Into our human body, onto the cell, there are the ACE2 receptor. They bind with this, and then this particular virus get entry into a human cell. If now basically this Corbevax, it will develop this protein antigen into the body. Artificially it will manufacture it, and when it will be manufactured into the body, our immune response will get ignited, it will get triggered, and it will fight with it, and into that particular thing it will develop a memory that if in future any particular kind of virus will come, we need to fight with it. So it is based on the protein antigen, where a basically kind of a protein is developed and a immune response is ignited by seeing that particular thing. So this is all about this particular article. Fine. Guys, you don't need to go too much deeper into that, because such kind of things change very rapidly. However, you need to be aware of the recent trends that are there. That is all. And now we'll be moving to the next article. Now, this particular article, guys, has been taken up from the Hindu newspaper, and here we can see that the army had conducted basically a very much high altitude exercise into the Ladakh region. So super high altitude area exercise into the Ladakh has been done by the Indian Army. The tanks have been deployed here. It is because of the reason that last year the India and China confrontation had happened into the Ladakh, and guys, such kind of condition can again evolve, and in order to be ready for that particular kind of condition, what has been done, this particular exercise has been made here. So that is all about this particular thing, guys. Apart from this, what type of tank was used, fine, for basically what kind of further maneuvers were there, not at all important for our UPSC examination particularly. Guys, into this particular exercise, we can see that the Snow Leopard Brigade has participated, which is located at the Neoma, which is very much close to the Chusul range. Is it clear? So here the exercise has happened. Now obviously there might be the implication that the China might also increase their kind of an adventurism into the region by seeing the exercise that has been done by the army. But guys, anyhow, the preparedness has always need to be there by the Indian Army also. So into that particular capacity we are practicing it. So that is all guys about the this particular article, and by this we come to an end to the today's newspaper analysis. That is all for the today's guys. I hope that you are understanding the articles and this particular initiative is helping to you. So guys, we will be meeting next on to the Monday. Till then, take care, and please do hit the like button if you are liking our initiative, and hit the subscribe button.